Good morning.
Good morning.
For those of you who have not met me, I am Jan Lougheed, retired minister in the United Church of Canada, and have enjoyed leading worship here a number of times when Grant's been away, and I'm delighted to be back here with you again this morning. Grant's off in some land of heat, wherever. Where is he?
This weekend he's actually just in Carleton Place. They're having a family reunion.
Family reunion, that's this weekend, and the land of heat. It should be warm there. So let us come together in worship. Let's join in our invitation. Like Jesus of Nazareth, who followed God's call with all that he was, so we too are called this day to recognize God's special ones, to feel the challenge his life represents, and to respond wholeheartedly. Let us worship God. We'll join together in hymn number 651, Guide Me, O Thou Great Jehovah. Let us join together in our opening prayer. Encircle us, embrace us, God. Visit us in small spaces. Splash sometimes epiphanies in our paths. Grace us to see them. Music maker, God, sing through our forests, splash in our rivers, dance in our fields. You are here, we are here. Encircle us with your love. Amen. I'd like to welcome all of you who have gathered here this morning. If we have guests in our midst, we welcome you. Do you have a guest book at the back of the... Yes, there's a guest book at the back of the sanctuary, and you can sign that before you leave. And also, before you leave, we do have refreshments downstairs, Bonnie? Okay. Refreshments following the service downstairs, so the stairs are just at the back of the sanctuary. We can join together for a bit of lemonade and some time of fellowship. Allison's going to speak to the announcements for the church, but she's far more familiar with them than I am.
Yeah, I will speak to the announcements first off. These are actually last week's announcements, if anybody actually noticed the date. the printer was not playing nice with me on Friday, and so I conceded defeat at some point. Unfortunately, the recycling was still there, and so we were able to have announcements. The only actual changes from last week's announcements to this week's announcements are I learned something by trolling through the church email. We get Jim Watson's regular monthly newsletters, and I was unaware, maybe you were, but I was not, that if you are 65 or older, you can ride OC Transpo for free on Wednesdays. But as of July, they have added Sundays. So there is free OC Transpo if you're 65 or older. I don't know how they police that, I don't know, but anyway, Wednesdays and Sundays. Summer, there is not as much going on, but you can read the announcements. The other thing I would like to do is to introduce to you the churches. We've had this spiritual growth animation project is not the right word, but it's program, thank you. So the spiritual growth animation program has gone into phase 2, and what that means is they have split that position into 2 chunks. We have a Sunday morning coordinator chunk and a everything else chunk. And so even though I'm not sure if the board has, I know that our new person in charge of the Sunday morning chunk is Eileen Mass, and I'd like her to just stand and say, and so you can put the face to the name. She started work this month, and I know all the details and everything will get hammered out once everybody gets back into full mode in the fall, but we want to welcome Eileen, and she's going to be in charge of the Sunday morning portion of the programs. So if you have any questions, Eileen is the one to talk to, and as it so happens, of course, there are no children here today, but Eileen is in charge of whatever would happen on a Sunday morning outside of the sanctuary, be it children or whatever other sparks get offered. So welcome to Eileen, and you'll hear more about that once everybody else gets back leading into the fall. So those are the announcements I have for you. Thanks so much.
And also, Reverend Kim Vidal is here with us this morning, and Kim did an internship here at Stitsville for about 3 or 4 years, somewhere in there, and some folks know her. She'd also like to just share about a trip that's coming up that she'd like you to know about.
Good morning. Do you still remember me? Yes. I was here as your youth minister from 2005 until I think almost end of 2007, going 2008. So I am so glad to be back. I always feel at home here at Stitsville United Church. Next year, I am bringing some people to the world-renowned Obermergau. If you have heard of it, it's a village somewhere in Bavaria, I think near Bavaria, Germany. And what they do there is that the whole village is involved in this putting up a theatrical presentation of the Passion of the Christ. So I'm bringing some people next year through Rosted Tours. And the main concept or theme of that particular trip is on Luther's Trail. So we're going to explore where Martin Luther, the father of Reformation, was born, and then where he went to college or university, the famous Wittenberg Cathedral and stuff like that. We will also have 2 nights in Prague, and of course the highlight is to watch Obermergau. So if you are interested, I'm posting with the, of course, your approval, one of these flyers or posters, but you can also speak with me during refreshment, and so you can ask questions if you are interested. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thanks.
Any other announcements or things we should know about? Okay, we'll move into singing our next hymn, number 226, For the Beauty of the Earth. I noticed that we don't have any younger children here this morning, so I'll just speak to all the older children who probably don't want to come and sit on the steps. One of the things I was thinking about looking at our passage this morning is about all of the animals that stockpile for the winter. What are some of the animals that stockpile for the winter? Chipmunks, squirrels, groundhogs. What was that? Beavers? Okay, beavers. You're not sure about beavers? I haven't heard about them stockpiling either. But no, I'm not sure about beavers except when I see them chewing on trees, knocking them down. Sure, there are all kinds, shrews and moles and even ants stockpile for the winter. Probably the two most common ones that we see in our backyard are the tree squirrels and the chipmunks. And one of the differences between the tree squirrels and the chipmunks are that the tree squirrels are scatter hoarders. So what they do is they grab all the food that they can get, greedy little things, and they take it all and they have caches all over the place. And their biggest fear is thievery because the other guys want what they've got, right? And so one of their ways to hide all of their things is to sometimes just dig fake holes where they don't put anything, and others think that there's something there, and they're not. But they just grab all that they can get, as much as they can get, and they stockpile it away. And at the end of the day, they go back and dig for their cache of food. They only get sometimes 40% of what they've hidden away. So they really could be less greedy and not spend so much time and work and focusing on how much they get, but maybe not having to get as much as they get, and leave some there for others. The chipmunks are different. They're larder hoarders. And so the chipmunks, they have one big long tunnel. It can be 10 feet long. And so for them, they bring all their stuff back and put in their larder, in their burrow. Now the problem with that is that they too expose themselves to theft. And other animals, probably mostly other chipmunks, come and steal probably 50% of the food that they've hoarded away. So they too could be less greedy and have less in their larder or their burrow that they've put away. So that sense of greed is there in the wildlife, and we too have a sense of greed, and I think it comes out probably in times when we're facing trauma. When you think of back in 1998, the ice storm, think of a couple of years ago, a flood, last year a tornado, this year another flood. We think of those things where immediately all kinds of food, water, generators, everything are flying off the shelves, and some people will take 2 or 3 and other people have none. So there is that sense of hoarding, that sense of greed that's there. We see it also in the shopping centers with Black Friday sales, where people are arguing and fighting over what, how many of these shirts can I get because they're only $3, and how many do they actually need? Probably none. But that's what happens. So I was just thinking with our scripture passage this morning to lead into that. You think of the natural greed that we often focus on. Now we're going to join together in our responsive psalm number 107. And that's on page 831 in Voices United.
talk about whether do you want the refrain sung? Are you doing the refrain?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
All right, so I will play the refrain. We will sing the refrain together, and then Jen will start into the song.
And we're only doing the first part of this song. Oh, give thanks, for God is gracious.
God's steadfast love endures forever.
Let the redeemed of God say so, those redeemed from trouble.
Whom God gathered in from the lands,
From the east and the west.
from the north and the south.
Some lost their way in desert wastes, finding no place to settle.
Hungry and thirsty, so fainted within them.
Then they cried to you, God, in their trouble. You rescued them from their distress.
You led them by a straight path till they reached a place to settle.
Let them thank you, O God, for your steadfast love, for the wonders you do for us.
For you satisfy the thirsty and fill the hungry with good things. Thanks to God for steadfast love.
Our gospel reading this morning is taken from Luke chapter 12, verses 13 to 21. And someone in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the family inheritance with me." But he said to him, "Friend, who set me to be a judge or arbitrator over you?" And he said to them, "Take care, be on your guard against all kinds of greed, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of possessions." Then he told them a parable. The land of a rich man produced abundantly. And he thought to himself, "What should I do? For I have no place to store my crops." And then he said, "I will do this. I will pull my barns down and build larger ones. And there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I will say to my soul, 'Soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, and be merry.' God said to him, 'You fool, this very night your life is being demanded of you. And the things that you have prepared, whose will they be?' So it is with those who store up treasures for themselves, but are not rich toward God."
So Larissa and I are going to sing a setting of the Lord's Prayer, and this is one of Larissa's favorite pieces of music. She's told me that, and I think we have actually sung it every summer that I have been here at SUC. And it's a terrific arrangement. You probably, chances are you have heard it before somewhere, if not here. And I just ask you to enjoy hearing this prayer sung in a different way than we do when we do it all together, and to try and listen to it as if for the first time. It's so easy for us to get into automatic mode with this prayer, which is not a shame because it is so powerful.
The reason this is so special to me is in the time when we used to have records and call them records, not vinyls, we had a record of Mario Lanza singing this version of the Lord's Prayer. This is when I was a child, I guess, 500 years ago? Anyways, when I was young, and it stuck with me, so it's a beautiful arrangement.